Hey everybody, it's Katie Bueller. How are you today? So today I'm gonna go live and tell my out-of-body experience. It happened in 2015, and I'm gonna start from when I was younger, just a little bit, so that you could understand kind of the story behind it, and then it'll get into my out-of-body experience. So say hello if you're here. Comment below. I don't think I've done it live in my group yet, so here we go. Okay, so when I was little, I used to struggle with school a lot. When I was like in first and second, I remember the teacher like starting the class, and she'd be like, okay, we're gonna like read down the aisle, and I remember her like saying, okay, start in this corner, and oh my gosh, my heart would just be like boom, 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 like I just wanted to die. And so it would start and the row would go, and then it would go, and I would try to read ahead, and I would try to read ahead, and this happened all the way through high school, junior high, elementary. Like it didn't stop, it just continued for me. And so and sometimes when they would get to me, I would have like read ahead and I would do okay, but other times I would definitely like trip over my words, and it was so embarrassing. Like I didn't want my peers to see me like that. And you know, and so I know that a lot of us in life, we have a lot of weaknesses, and we have a lot of stories about what our weaknesses are, and how we're not good enough, and how we're not smart enough, and whatever. And so at a young age, I created the belief, and I carried this belief for a long while, that I was stupid and dumb, and that I wasn't smart. And it was so hard to always be thinking that and feeling that throughout my life. So I went through elementary years, I went through junior high years, all the way up to high school. I did notice something unique about me when I was younger. I would get like insight on stuff very easily. So like one time we were driving to high school, and I remember being told very clearly, stop here. And it was like two lengths before I was in the turning lane, and I remember just being told like, stop here, that there was going to be a car accident. And I stopped early at the turning light, and it wasn't my turn yet anyways, but like I'd stopped like two cars early. It kind of seemed a little strange. And within like a minute, there was this huge accident right in front of me, and if I didn't listen, I would have been in the accident, because they came clear into my lane, because it was two cars going this way, and I was going to be heading this way to high school. And so I wish back then I would have like understood what was going on and how I'm like intuitive, but I didn't understand that at the time as much. And so I basically had this belief, and I tried to hide it. Like I tried to not show my friends the weaknesses, and before you know it, like, so now we're everybody's taking their ACT, and I'm in high school, and I did have some dyslexia, but like back then it wasn't like that like it is nowadays. And so like you didn't get diagnosed as much, and you didn't get as much help for it. And so which, by the way, I think that dyslexia can be a gift in a lot of ways. So anyways, then I went into the ACT room, and I remember just being so overwhelmed with how many people were in the room, and I couldn't focus on the test. It was just like, oh my gosh, just like so overwhelming. And I remember getting the test back, and I got a 14 on the ACT. Like I was humiliated. I didn't tell any of my friends, even my bestest friends. I don't think I told any of them. I was so embarrassed. And at this point, everybody was picking where they're going to go to college. And I remember just being like inside, like this was all internal. Like I didn't want anybody to know this about me, right? And so I just remember being so overwhelmed, like, oh, I cannot do this. Like life is hard and school is hard. Why can't I just be smart? I'm so stupid. And so they all graduated, and I could not get into any colleges. I got into the community college by me, and then I started a job at a hotel, and right away I started the job, and I was going to college. Well, in college I started flunking my classes. Like I couldn't pass the test. They were just I don't know, I'm just not wired for tests very well. And so, so basically I flunked out of college, and I didn't even tell my parents at this time. Like, I was so embarrassed, I didn't even let my own parents know until like a couple months later. My mom was like, how come you're never in classes? And then that's when I told her I dropped out. And so this was like pretty embarrassing. So all of my life I just dealt with like learning struggles, feeling stupid, worthless, dumb. What's wrong with me? Why can't I be as smart as other people? And so at this time I was working at the hotel, and I belonged to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And at the time, my boss, the owner, was like, what's so different about you? You're so unique. And I remember like sending the missionaries to him because I was like, well, there's a light about me, you know, and this is why. And so my parents used to have the missionaries at our house, and so I just like thought they could come. Well, it wasn't their area. So they ended up calling some other missionaries, and he ended up coming. And before these two missionaries walked through the door, I remember all of a sudden getting this knowing through my body, and it was just this overwhelming, you could marry one of these missionaries. And I don't believe God ever takes away your free agency, which is why he said you could. And when I met, his name at the time was Elder Bueller, I knew him. Like, I knew him. And there was just this like instant connection. And so for a while he taught my manager, and my manager the night before he was going to get baptized backed out. But so then he went on to be AP, and then he finished up his mission, and he ended up reaching back out to me, and we ended up dating. And he also had a dream of me and him being married in his dream. And so anyways, so I ended up meeting my husband, and it was like God just sent him straight to me. So that was one thing that was super easy in my life. So I met him, loved him, like right away. It was just this immediate connection. And I know a lot of people don't believe in like soulmates, or some people call them twin flames. I do, and I don't know that everybody has one, but I do know a lot of people have one, and I did meet mine. And he just gets me, like we just get each other. We're polar opposites too. It's so funny. And so he's super logical. I'm super like intuitive and like emotional, and it's so funny. So we get married. At this point, like, he's brilliant. Like, seriously, he's like the smartest person I know alive. And so now we have opposite things too, right? So I'm like, I don't ever want to look inadequate in front of him. I'm married and this newlywed. And I did tell him like my struggles growing up and stuff, but I don't think he had seen it. So here we are at our first ward, and we go to church on Sunday. And it wasn't like our very first time, but it was like months into it. We had lived downtown, kind of by the mall downtown. Okay, so I was the girl growing up who would sit in the back of classes. I would sit on the side, and I'm super, super outgoing, but high anxiety when it came to reading and public speaking or anything to do with that. I would just shut down. So if I sat on the side or in the back, nobody would call on me. And so in church, I did this my whole life. So I sat in the back all the time with him, and I just would like keep my head down or whatever. I just did not ever volunteer. I didn't ever read. Like, I would dodge it at all costs. And so this happened all throughout my whole life. So, and if anybody could read, he would, because he's smart, right? He's the type who can perform. Like, he was great. He's like the leadership quality. And so, so at one point in church, I remember this guy saying, hey, can you read this? And he just looked straight at me, and my heart about beat out of my chest. And this was the problem, is now he was going to see it. And so it exaggerated it like 1,000 times. And so, and here I am, like, I don't want him to see this inadequacy, I think it's called inadequacy in me. I just was like, please, I don't want this happening. And so I tried, and it made it so much worse. I really didn't even hardly read anything right at that time. And I know how to read fast, and I actually know how to read good. But the anxiety it caused, and so you guys, even like thinking about that gets my throat going, because emotionally it was so tough for me to go through. And our bodies will talk to us whenever we're sick. They will show up and they will speak. That's a whole nother story. So anyways, so long story short, I read, I'm so humiliated, and now I'm like, I want to go. So I get up and leave, and we go home, and I just remember just crying. Like, I was so embarrassed. And like, he saw now what happens to me, and it was just like, is he gonna still like me? Is he gonna love me? Like, oh, it was just so embarrassing. And if I could just chill and breathe through it, I probably would have read fine. Like, but I would get myself so worked up. So we end up I tell him when we're first married, like, I'm 6 years younger than you. I did not want to have kids for 5 years. Don't talk to me about it. That's what I told him. So a couple months go by, and this is so funny. 6 months into our marriage, I come to him. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to have a baby. And he was like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to have kids. My number one purpose in life, my most important purpose in life, is to be a mother, and it always will be. It's the highest calling I believe a woman can have. And so anyways, that was my passion, and it still is my number one passion. We'll get to passions later, but so I get pregnant, and I'm so excited. I'm gonna be a mom, and we get pregnant really quick. And then about 6 weeks into it, I all of a sudden just spiral down, and I'm so sick. Like, I cannot function. I can't take care of myself. It's like so bad. At one point, my mom showed up at my house. It was like 1 PM. I had to quit my job because I could not, like, I would be like walking up the stairs at my job, and I would, like, one time I passed out on the stairs going to the bathroom to throw up. Like, I didn't have energy. I couldn't keep anything down. It was so bad. So I had home, or I was going into the hospitals and the ERs and getting PICC line, or at this point it wasn't a PICC line yet. It was just the hydration in me. So this happened, and it was just so hard. So my mom eventually showed up. I wasn't taking care of myself. When my husband would get back, he would like try to help me. Eventually it got to the point where I moved back into my parents' house. Well, I didn't move into their house. I would stay in their house during the daytime while my husband was working. So we actually moved from downtown back by my parents so that I could be taken care of during the daytime. And my husband would work and then go into so then we ended up moving into this new apartment. And so eventually I had Kelly. And like a year and a half later, my husband's like, I want to have kids close together. And I remember just sobbing, like, I cannot do this again. So then I'm like, okay, I believe in the law of attraction. I can attract anything I want. And I know how, like, I just understood how energy, like, you can create what you want in life. And so when you focus on what you want is what you get. And so I was like, okay, I'll have a great pregnancy. It's going to be fine. It's over with. I healed that part of me. It's going to be fine. Well, I get pregnant with my second child. Sure enough, I spiral down, and I'm so ill. I'm so sick. Same story. I remember, like, the home hospice nurse would come to my house 5 times every 5 days. She'd come and change my lines in my house, and she would be like digging for a vein, and it would collapse, like. And so it was just like, sometimes she'd have to like stick me like 5 or 6 times just to get me to get hydration, and then she'd come back 5 days later. So this happened. I remember even like laying in my tub, and so I have Kyler. Everything goes good, and I'll tell you this part's next. So I have Kyler. I'm still like, it was like a rough pregnancy. So like years and years go by, and I was like, okay, I started feeling like a child, and but I was so afraid. Like, I did not want to do this again. And so it took me, Kaysen and Kyler are 5 years apart. People think it's probably because I couldn't get pregnant. Some people will ask that, and it's not. They don't ask it like that, but that's probably what they're thinking. I literally was terrified. And so with Kaysen, I was like, okay, this time I healed. Like, I won't have this thing. I won't have this traumatic stuff with pregnancy. because I know that a lot of times what shows up physically is emotional issues. And so I was like, okay, I attracted better this time. I really did it the right way, and I won't be sick again. Like, I had done everything psychologically you could possibly do. I was like, it's not in my head, it's fine. Well, Kason comes and I spiral down. And I, at this point, had 2 children. And my aunts had to come in, and my cousin cleaned my house, my mom, my sisters. They took my kids for weekends sometimes. They cooked, they cleaned. They did, like, they pretty much took care of my life. And my husband would come home, and then he'd go to work, and it was just like, it was bad. So I remember the only thing that brought me relief was like going and getting in the tub. So I laid in the tub, and it would just be like make me feel somewhat calmer, and then I'd go lay back in bed, and then I'd get in the tub, and I'd go lay back in bed. I'd have like 8 or 9 baths a day. That's how bad it was. And I remember my daughter, she was like, see, Kason, they're 8 years apart. I don't remember. She was like, I don't remember exactly the age, but she came up to me in the tub, and she was like, Mom, can you help me with this or something? And I remember thinking in my head, and in normal life, I am happy. I'm on no medications. I am good. But in pregnancy, I am like a freaking basket case. So I remember, and I get like so depressed because the nutrition, if you're not getting nutrition in your body, you just can't even function. So I remember thinking in my head, like, go talk to somebody who cares, because I don't. Like, it was so bad. At one point, I even freaked out and told Calvin, get this baby out of me. Like, it was just rough. And like the low, like I definitely can relate to people who have depression, because when I was pregnant, I had severe depression. Anyway, so I have all these at this point, they gave me a PICC line, a little bit into it, because they knew my past pregnancies and that my veins would collapse in my arm. So they gave me a PICC line, right here. And every night we would hook up every day 2 different hydrations to me. They were thinking about putting me on food through the PICC line. Luckily, it didn't ever get to that point, because I don't know if I could have handled the whole like up through my nose. But and I think the TP can even go through your arm. But anyway, so I got on a PICC line, and I just barely survived the pregnancy. So towards the end, I all of a sudden have like this pain in my arm one night, and I'm like, oh honey, my arm hurts so bad. And poor guy, I just like disappeared when I was pregnant. Like I could just barely even survive. And so he was like, okay, well, if it hurts still in the morning, we'll go to the ER. And so I remember going to sleep, waking up at like 6 in the morning, and I was like, my arm hurts so bad. So he takes me to the ER. And luckily this pregnancy, I didn't go to the ER all the time for hydration, because I had a PICC line, and they like surgically can put that into you, like in a sterile room and stuff. And so it went into my heart. So I go in, and sure enough, I have a blood clot from here to here. And they were like, oh boy, she has a major blood clot. We have to get this PICC line out of her. So it was pretty scary. I didn't know. I had about 2.5 to 3 months left of my pregnancy. I didn't know how I was going to survive my pregnancy the rest of the way without hydration in me, and like the vitamins coming through me. It was just really tough. So basically, my husband's now shooting like blood thinner in me every night. He's grabbing the back of my fat on my arm and just trying to like every night he's shooting blood thinners into me. It gets to the very end of my pregnancy, and I am like, I am never doing this again. So very, very end. And I wake up one night, and so with Kason, I got told about 2 weeks early that, again, you guys, sometimes I just get told stuff. It's just like a download comes to me, and I just know it's true. So I got told the cord's wrapped around his neck so tight that he needs to come out, or he might not make it. And if I were to handle it now, I would totally handle it differently. I remember calling my husband sobbing. And at this point, my husband had learned to trust me because of the intuition and the things that I've been told throughout our marriage. And so he was like, okay. So I remember him and I made an appointment with the doctor. We tried to, like, I didn't say, hey, I got told my son, the cord was wrapped around his neck so tight he's not going to make it. Because you guys, if you think about it, I already look like this basket case woman who's pregnant, so sick, can't function. They don't see me in normal life where I'm like, don't have to be on any medications. I'm happy as could be. Like, they don't see that part of me other than my anxiety of like reading and like the learning side of it. They didn't see that side of me. And so to me, I just feel like I'm always a problem for these doctors. And so I basically, the doctor said, okay, I'm going to try. I just said, I just need to have him. Like, I need to get him out of me. So she's like, okay, I'm going to try really hard. I was like, it's not going well. I just need it to be done. So she calls me and says she can do it a week early, but that she has to, like, you can't just tell them to do it, you know? So she called the OBG or the Women's Center at St. Mark's, and they had then approved it for a week early, but I didn't like explain why. After I had the baby and she saw the situation, and then I told her, she's like, why didn't you tell me that? So long story, about a week later, so I'm about to go in to have I'm about to go in. And since I have placenta previa, they're going to do a C-section on me. And so at this point, Kason, like one night, is just kicking so hard, and my C-section wasn't yet. He's like kicking so hard, and I'm like, oh, Calvin, he is like kicking me so hard. This is not normal. Like, so I end up falling asleep for a little while, and a couple hours later I wake up and I am bleeding. And they said, with the blood thinners in you, you need to get to the hospital ASAP if you're bleeding, because it's like, it could cause me to hemorrhage because of the blood thinners. And so my husband, we called my sister Jen in the middle of the night. She showed up at like 3 a.m. She literally like throws stuff in a bag and off we are. And my husband goes, he almost ran all the lights, but it was like nobody was awake at night, so it didn't really matter. So he drove straight to St. Mark's. We get there, and they say to me, we have told you off for 24 hours because the cord is wrapped, or not the cord, that's soon to come. We have told you off for 24 hours because you have blood thinners in you and you could hemorrhage. If you have this baby vaginally, you could hemorrhage. If we cut you open, you can hemorrhage. We need to wait till we can get this blood thinner out of you. Well, he wasn't waiting. Like, he was coming. And so I go to the bathroom and my water breaks. And so they basically brought papers to my husband to like sign over, and like I had to go into the OR. So it was really scary. And my husband he's very, very good in emergency situations. He's a firefighter now, but he's the type that like, he's pretty private. And so he just kind of like is internal with how he handles things, where like I like to talk it out. So he didn't know if I was going to make it at all. He didn't tell anybody this. And so when they took me to the OR, he came in and he said, can I go tell my wife I love her? And then, can I come in? And they were like, you can come in after we prep her. And so he comes in, he tells me that he loves me. And at this point, I'm strapped on the table, like flat. I kept my eyes shut because I knew if I saw all the equipment and all of the tools, I would flip out. I knew I'd go into a full-on panic attack. And I'm like, have some claustrophobia stuff. And so I remember just like, they pinned me down, like my arms and everything. And I remember just breathing deep. And I knew I had to keep my eyes shut so I didn't see the room, so I didn't freak out. And I just wanted to live. Like, at this point, all I wanted to do was just live to see my baby. I knew I had been told that the cord was wrapped around his neck. Like, it was just this situation. He had kicked the night, like the couple hours before that, and like so hard, like for hours. And the kid like literally kicked himself to get out of me. He was fighting, and it's so awesome. Now I look back, I'm like, he's such a fighter. But so, next, my husband comes in, he's like, I love you. And I don't say a thing. Like, I think that like was probably really hard for him because I didn't even respond. And I knew if I opened my mouth, I would have freaking lost it. Like, I would not have been able to control my emotions. And I would have gone into a panic attack, knowing like, I don't know if I'm going to live or not. And like, I have 2 kids at home. I have this baby and I want to be a mom. And so like, I'm just silent to him. And then, they had him go out for a little bit longer till they like prepped me, and then oh, they told him to go out until I got put under. That's what it was. So before I knew it, it was like 9, 8, 7, and then I was out. So then they let him in, and they had like blood standing by just in case I needed transfusions, blood transfusions. And so they end up opening me up, and he said that my stomach filled all the way up with blood, like completely. And they took the baby out, and then they took the baby out of the room into the nursery, and they made him go with him. So he did not know what was going on with me at this point. I'm under, and so he kept asking the nurse upstairs, like, can you call for my wife? Can you call for my wife? And I mean, in his mind, like, I didn't know till after, but he told me, he's like, I didn't know if you'd make it. And I was so scared that you wouldn't make it. And so, luckily, I made it. And so when he comes back, they had moved me back into the women's center and stitched me up and stuff. And then when I woke up, I remember feeling like a train hit me. Like, I was in so much pain. So I kept going back under. And then they finally like gave me more medication and stuff. And so, like, I just remember waking up, and it was just like so incredibly painful that I just kept going back under. My body couldn't take it. Well, then I finally woke up, and my husband looked at me, and I remember him coming to my head and like hugging me. And he says, he said, Katie, the cord was wrapped around his neck so tight that it cut his neck open. And he's like, you were right. You were right. And like, I wish now, I like regret it so bad. I wish I would have fought, because I got told that. And I wish I would have told my doctor that, but like, I can't take it back now. You know, I was like craziness. I was like seriously the hardest freaking pregnancy for them. And so, but he lived, and he kicked himself out of me. Like, that's why he was kicking me so hard the night before, and I started bleeding because he was kicking so hard. So, like, when I saw his cut up into his neck, it cut it all the way open, I was just like, oh my goodness, like, wow, God is amazing. He literally, like, when he needs to tell me something, he will just tell me. and so, we go home, and I am healing, and I'm like, okay, I just like was so happy, right? I'm like, I have 3 kids, I'm alive, like, and I'm married to the man of my dreams. Like, I am just like, okay, I'm never gonna do that again, like, never. So we go home, and everything's like good. My daughter's dancing, tumbling. My Kyler, he did some little sports and stuff, so we just like live normal life. And like, maybe the next like couple years, I just had like PTSD of getting pregnant. Like, I was like, anytime I would just freak out, like, that I'm gonna get pregnant. And so at this point, I'm having these conversations with my husband, like, what if I get pregnant? What if I get pregnant? And I would just be so anxious, and it would kind of put me into like some PTSD stuff that I was dealing with. And I was like, I gotta figure this out. And so we decided together that I would get fixed. And so I needed to end like internally with my body, knowing that I was done, so that I didn't have to like worry that what if. So we schedule it. The day comes. My sister Jess took Kyler, Kaysen at this time, and this was in 2015. So everything's good in life. Like, I have these 3 kids. I'm so happy in life. And every once in a while, I'm getting these triggers of just full on like PTSD stuff. Like, I cannot go through that again. And just the memories, and I would just worry. And then I would be like, what if I'm pregnant? What if I'm going to get pregnant? Like, so I didn't want to live like that anymore. So I was like, okay, we're going to deal with this. So we schedule it. We drop off Kaysen at Jesse's. Jessica's my sister. She has a little girl, Brenley, who happens to be a year younger than Kaysen. my youngest. And so this day we're driving in, and as we're driving there, we drop him off, and then we're driving in, and like I just kept crying and crying the whole way down there. And like, you guys, I don't actually cry a lot in life. Like, I'm sensitive, mostly just with my husband. I have like pretty sensitive feelings, and like but I'm not like a major crier, I wouldn't say, like, and I wouldn't even say he would say that. And so like, it was just really odd, and I was so sad because I felt like there's another little girl, and I felt like I was giving up on her. But I knew I had to live for my other kids. Like, I had to live for them. And so we dropped Kason off, and my other 2 kids are at school, and we're driving, and I just sobbed. And on the radio, the song came on. This Is My Fight Song by Rachel Platten. And, by Rachel Platten. I said that wrong. And so the song's like playing, and it hit me. And God's always spoke to me through music a ton. Like, whenever I'm struggling, he sends me a song, and it's like the message comes through the song, or he gives me a knowing, and I just know what to do. Well, this day he gave me a song, and in the song it was, This Is My Fight Song, Take Back Your Life song. It was like my life was gonna change. And as I drove there, I just remember listening to lyrics, like, and like, I don't know, there was just something with the lyrics, and that This Is My Fight Song, I'm gonna take back my life song, of like all the anxieties, all the fear, all the stress, all the worry. I'm not gonna get pregnant again. I'm gonna be able to live my life, not be stressed about it, on top of like, not, like, I had lived so long with like anxiety of reading in front of people, public speaking fears, I'm so stupid, and little did I know what was about to happen. So I go in, and it's super embarrassing. We're in St. Mark's, and I just cannot keep it together. Like, I'm like, what in the world? Like, get it together, woman. So I'm inside, and we check in, and then they walk me back into the room, and they give me like a gown and a blanket and slippers, and these sock slippers. And the doctor comes back, and she's like, we're just gonna like reschedule you. You do not look like you're in a place to do this. And I was like, no, I've got to do this. Like, it's time. Like, I've got to do it. And she's like, well, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. This is the place. Like, I've had all my children in this hospital. I've had all these memories that were like so traumatic of like, I didn't know if I was going to make it. Like, this hospital is like this place of like, where everything would happen. I would go for PICC lines. I went there for hydration. I went to the ERs. Every one of my kids were there. Like, it was just like this place where it was just like sacred, but at the same time, like, so traumatic, you know? And so I'm in, and they get ready, they bring me back, and I tell my husband I love him, and I'm on this table, and they say to me, the anesthesiologist says to me, if you have any chance in the world, where would you want to go? And I was like, any chance in the world to say where I'd want to go, where would I want to go? And I was like, and in my mind, and I loved out-of-body experiences at this time, loved them. I would read all of them. Like, God just naturally gave me this, like, I loved spiritual stuff. I loved intuition. I loved anything that had to do with it, like out-of-body experiences. I would go listen to them speak. I would read books of them. And so, like, to me, it was just like normal. Like, I didn't realize that's not normal for other people. And so I wanted to say heaven, but I didn't say that, because who says that, right? Guess what? We in this world, we don't say what we really think a lot. We say what people want us to say, because we don't want to look weird. And so I think I said Hawaii or Florida, because I think I was like wanting to go to Disney World. I've been to Disneyland a lot, but not Disney World. And so I think, and I still to this day don't remember which one I said, but one or the other I said. And I had been to Hawaii on my anniversary, so I don't think I said that. But what I wanted to say was to heaven. And I'm like, who says that, right? So I choose not to say it. So then he says, okay, you should be going out soon. And then he's like, count down. And I was like, 9, 8, and that's all I remember. And I was under. So I don't remember anything where I'm under. next thing I know, I'm waking up. Whenever I was put under before, it was groggy, I was emotional, foggy. I wasn't like today. This time, I was very aware, like hyper aware of every single thing. And I was like, I just went to heaven and saw angels. And she said, yeah, you've been telling me this for 15 minutes. And I was like, I have? And she's like, yeah, you've been telling us all about it for 15 minutes. And I was like, oh, huh. And now I know at this point, like, it wasn't heaven, it was the spirit world. It was the spirit world. But it is very peaceful, loving, amazing. Oh my gosh, like, nothing compared to here. Nothing. Like, yeah, we can create heaven on earth, but it's like the spirit world or heaven. I don't say heaven because now I don't say that, because heaven to me is even a higher vibration than this. So it was the spirit world. The only way I knew how to describe it, that was heaven, and so that's what I said. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I just went to heaven and saw guardian angels, and I looked at her and this anesthesiologist, and I said, you two are soulmates. I did not know before I went to sleep that the woman who was massaging my feet and the man who was putting the anesthesia, the medication in me, the anesthesiologist, that they were married. I didn't know that. And I'm like, you two are soulmates. Do you know this? And they were just like listening really carefully. And I'm like, yeah, and you guys are good people. Like, you have good hearts. And like, I could literally feel their heart as if I was them. It was like we were all one, we were connected. And so I, at this point, was in between heaven, or whatever you want to call it, the spirit world, and earth. I was still in between both, and I did not think twice about what anybody thought about me. I did not care. It was like all I spoke was truth. It didn't even cross my mind, are they going to think I'm weird? I did not care. And so I remembered everything so clearly, and it was like it took a good hour for me to get back fully into my body. So at this point, they put me in a wheelchair and wheeled me back to my husband, and then they brought me in the room, and she opens the door and she says, your wife says that she has been, she saw guardian angels, and she's been to heaven. And my husband's like, that actually wouldn't surprise me. And so they're like, yeah, it's been amazing to listen to or whatever. And then they like let me go. And then I was just like, Calvin, I really did. And he's like, okay. And then like the doctor came in, and then she sat down, and I was like, you are such a good person. Like, I could literally feel her soul as if it was me. Like, everybody in this world, we look at each other like we're disconnected, but in the other realm, we're all connected. When we love ourselves, and we love others, because whatever we feel about another is about ourselves too. Like, it's literally, we're connected. Like, it's like we're all this woven blanket together. So when we love others, we can love ourselves. And when we like push other people out of our life, and we can't ever like get along with people, it's because we can't get along with ourselves too. So it's so interesting. So I was like, I saw that she had saved a lot of lives. And so I said, you saved a lot of lives. Like, God's like pleased with you. Well, little do I know, she was the doctor who would run down the stairs and go to the emergencies, because she was one of the closest doctors into the St. Mark's Hospital. And so that was amazing to know. And then, and I just like told her how amazing she is. And she just kind of sat down, and she got emotional, and she just kind of was like, thank you. And I think it like kind of caught her, you know, because in the medical field, you guys, we're taught to be logical. We're taught that like things are logical, and it's not like that in the real world, or in the spirit world. It's not. It's very, very intuitive. It's spiritual. It's tapping into your heart. It's connecting within. Not everything logical is real life. Like, you cannot describe the other realm. in a logical way. You cannot. And so I think she was just like mind blown a little bit. And so then she left, and then my husband was like helping me fix some stuff. And then so I was like, Calvin, I went to heaven and I saw guardian angels. And so then he's like, okay, well, tell me what. And at this point he pulled out his camera, because I think he was like, she's gonna tell me stuff, so I'm gonna film it. And so like it just happened. Like I didn't even know he was filming, because I was still like in both realms. And so I was like telling him everything that I saw and experienced, and so I saw that we all have one chance to live. That's it, one chance. That's it, one chance. And we're just playing it safe. That people in this world, we don't fully live the way we want. We're scared. We're worried what other people are going to think. Do you remember how I lived? I literally didn't read in front of people. I didn't speak. I hid in a corner. I did never raise my hand. After this experience, my whole life changed. Like, so I saw that that we have one chance to live. That's it, one chance, and we're just being safe. And we're safe because we learned at a young age to care what people think way, way, way too much. Like, it matters so much, the outside world and like how they perceive us. We've like learned this trait, and it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't in the long scheme. What matters is that you go to your deathbed and you do not have regrets. So because when you're on your deathbed, not one person in this world will go with you, not even your spouse or your children. So you have to be true to you, not what your husband wants, not what your kids want, not what your parents want. In the is it Indian culture? Like in India, they teach their children to become doctors. They teach their children to become like they say you should become this and you should become this, and they like have these dreams and these aspirations that they want their children to be. And this is what our world has done to us. Our parents they have put expectations, and not every parent has done this, but they put expectations of what they want us to live our life like. They live through us. They do not let us choose for ourselves. And I saw this so clearly, that we get lost. When we're little children, we know exactly what our passion is. I ask my nieces, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they're like, my little Lydia, she says, my sister Christy's little girl, she's like an artist or a singer or a dancer, and she sings. She loves to sing. My sister Jessica's Brinley, she says a veterinarian. I want to be a veterinarian. And she always comes to my house and plays with my dog. Like, and I'm not saying that's like the only thing they could be, but as a child, the innocence of a child, they know. When they speak to us, we have to listen. They are so in tune. These kids nowadays, they are coming with major gifts that we are not prepared for as adults. We dummy them down with medications, and we have to stop. We have to. Because they have gifts that will rock our world. We need to let them use them. They're not coming down as average children anymore. They're not. And so, this is a subject I'm extremely passionate about. But as children, like, we just naturally know what we're passionate about. And one of the things I wanted to become is a mother. I wanted to be a mother so much. And so I saw that we have like, that this world is like a playground, and we need to dare to play. That it's literally like, when you go to like a playground and you're like sliding down the slide and you're having so much fun and you're exploring this and you're doing this and you're trying this. It's like that. This world's supposed to be like that for us. We're supposed to dare to do things in life. We're supposed to try things. We're supposed to go after our passions. We literally were born with specific gifts within us. Every single person designed uniquely. Nobody's the same. You can have 10 photographers and not one is the same because they bring in a different part of it. Maybe somebody loves the earth and is passionate about getting photo shoots of like earth stuff, or somebody else is like a business photographer. It's unique to every single person, and all of us were born to shine our light. All of us were born to live our soul purpose, and our soul purpose is within us. The only way we will find it is by going within. That is it. You all have one, every single person, and the world is so loud. It's so, it's like so loud and booming and busy and da-da-da-da, and we have to slow ourselves down enough to listen to it. Like, we have to really go within ourselves and take that time to like hear ourselves, hear what our own soul is, our own answer. Since this, I've had a lot of people say to me, how did you learn to live your soul purpose? Like, how are you, because I help women, I do lots of mentoring, I do energy sessions, I do soul purpose sessions, all these different things. And I do them daily. When my kids are at school, I have an office in my house and I'm busy with it. And I love doing what I do, but I figured this out, what my passion was, that I'm an intuitive. By going within myself, I would, after my out-of-body experience, I would go into the bath and just be quiet and have Epsom salt in there. And I would hear, you need to share your experience. You need to share your experience. And I was like, I can't. I'm too afraid. Like, I was like, it's so scary. And I would be told it again and again. And so finally I was like, fine. Like, I can't go to my deathbed and have regrets. I cannot let these fears control me anymore. I was told we have these beliefs within us and we listen to them, but they're just within us. Like, we don't have to let them control us. And so we have these beliefs, but they're just within us. Basically, my beliefs, and I don't know what yours are, I want you to really think right now, what is yours? My belief was, you're not smart, you're dumb, you're stupid, you're not worth anything. That is a lie. I am worth a lot. I am a daughter of God. I help people heal. From a young age, I was super intuitive. From a young age, I read out-of-body experiences. God was preparing me to share mine. He was preparing me for the work I was going to do in this world. And so what is it that calls to you? If you don't know, I actually do sessions on this and I can help you with that. But all of your answers will come from you, not from me. And I will help you get there if you cannot get there on your own, because everything is from within. So if you want to become a doctor, or like I had a lady over here who was doing a session and she's a nurse, and in the middle of the session it comes out that she really wants to be a teacher, and if she could wake up every day and feel alive, she would be a teacher. And so I'm like, it's not too late. It's not too late. You came here to live your life fully, 100% fully. And so I got told that our answers are within us, and if we listen to our heart, we'll know them. So we have to go within and listen to our heart, and not everybody else around us, that they're too loud and they're speaking too loud. And we always go outside of ourselves. Like, well, what do you think about this, Mom? Or what do you think about this to my sister? Or what do you think this to my husband? We have to stop doing it and only ask ourselves. And I, to this day, still have to remind myself. I was at Ross the other day and I'm like, had this hot pink hoodie sweater. I love hot pink, like love it. Black and hot pink, I love them. I'm in the store and I start texting my daughter, is this cute? And she's like, it's okay. And then I realized, why did I just ask my daughter if I like this? She likes this. I just did what I teach against. Like, I love this. I am buying this, and I went and bought it, and I love it. And so, like, and that's just like a silly example, but when you really have something that your inner soul is like calling for you, do you listen to it? Are you jumping into it and being like, this is for me? Like, this is, I need to do this. I love this, right? So what are those things? For me, I got to learn a lot about being empathic feeling energy. I got told in my out-of-body experience that everything is energy. Everything is energy. And I have dove into that. And everything is, even making money, energy. It's everything in this world is energy. If we can shift the energy healing-wise, attraction-wise, finding a person in our life, there's stuff in your life that you're doing to not attract somebody to you. It's energy. And so, so then I saw that all these guardian angels all around us, like everybody has them, hundreds of them. We can ask them for help. In my religion, I got told to pray to God, which I still do. But I did not know I could communicate with my angels like this. Now I communicate with them every day. They are around me to assist me. In the other realm, their purpose is to help us in life. They literally are here to help us. Now I ask them, hey, can you send me this? Can you work on this? Can you do this? And they do. So, and it works. It's amazing. Like, it's just asking them for help. It could even be, can you help me find a parking spot? I really need to get in the store really quick. It could be that. It could be, can you help me send this money? I need this for this. There's a million different things. Like, they're here to help us. And they even send us signs and symbols. Are you seeing them? They're everywhere. A lot of times, and like if you're sitting on the grass and a hummingbird comes by, there's a message in it. You look up the metaphorical meaning of a hummingbird. Like, so I know to some people this is like maybe a little extreme, but I am born in this realm and I see it very clearly. And so for me, I'm here to show others that, help them step into their purpose. Like, what were you born to do? What makes you feel so alive you cannot stay in bed any longer? You have got to jump out of bed and live your life purpose. What makes you feel so excited to do that? So I saw my grandma and my grandpa and then my other grandpa. And then I was told, your grandma's ready to go soon. She's going to pass away soon. And my grandma passed away after that. And so now my grandma in Berlin gets to be my guardian angel on my other side too. So I think we had her for maybe a year longer after that. And after that I knew, like, this is it. She's getting ready to go. And so I saw my sister's baby, Jessica, Addie. She was in my sister's womb. So it's very interesting. When we're pregnant, there is a very long cord between the mother and the spirit and the baby. And the spirit can come and go. I saw it. I saw her. So I know this to be true. I got to see her, and I was told that she's coming early. She's going to go through some hard times, but she's going to be fine. And sure enough, she was born early, and she was in the NICU, and she had to have a breathing on oxygen for a whole year long. And it was a very stressful time for Jess, but she did it, and she was fine. And so Addie's like super special to me because she's the only person who's in this realm with me who was in that realm with me at the same time. So it's just kind of a cool thing. And then what else did I see? That we all have a soul purpose to live. Like every single one of us. You were born with it within you. So yes, we can go to college. Yes, we can learn and grow upon it. But it's not the end all be all. Like for me, I was not born to go to college. I clearly didn't do well at it. Not everybody in this world fits in that mold. And I used to judge myself for it. How many of you have judged yourself for this? How many of you feel like you're not worth anything, or you don't have a degree for this or that? It doesn't matter. It's a man-made degree. God made you with specific traits and personalities, specific gifts and passions that he gave you. And he instilled it within you to come to this earth and do it. So whatever makes your heart feel alive is what you need to be living. I did see that a lot of people are not living their soul purpose, and they're feeling depressed and tired and sad, and they are shutting down, and they're not living true to who they came here to be. And what I want you to remember, if I spoke and I chose to, it took me so much just to speak and get out of my fears. Like I then saw Like, we have these beliefs and then we listen to them. And I was like, okay, I have to stop living the way I live. I have to stop letting it control me. I remember just reading and just tripping over my words, and I was like, God, how am I going to do this? And he would tell me when I'd go within and find who I was. After this out-of-body experience, I literally, for a good year, struggled with everything. My beliefs, my church. I didn't know what was true, what wasn't. I had to go deep within myself. And I took that time to do it, to find out what my beliefs were. And I had to literally I had to push through all of my fears. And you guys, on the opposite of your fears are your strengths. They're your greatest abilities. So sometimes we have these strengths, and in the scriptures it says our weaknesses will become strengths. Well, guess why? Because it's true. So what are your weaknesses? What do you struggle with? Well, for me, it was speaking. Well, guess what? I actually can move people. I can be completely vulnerable and say the ugliest, hardest things that I've gone through, and other people will relate. But did you think I didn't know that before? Because I had such a fear of speaking. So I had to go in the darkest place. I remember the first conference I got asked to speak at. So now I get asked to speak at different conferences about my out-of-body experience. And the first one I got asked to speak at, it was 2 months in advance. I was physically sick for 2 months. I would just not want to eat. I would be snappy with my husband and my kids. I felt like such a bad mom because I was so stressed, and all I would think about is like speaking, and I started to observe my thoughts. So they call this in therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy. It's where you stop and you pay attention, you listen to your own inner thoughts of like, what's going through me. And I started standing outside of myself. The only way I could get myself to speak, I almost canceled several times because it would just rock me inside. And I was like, no, this is not going to control me anymore. I have one chance to live. That's it, one chance. And I am not playing it safe. I am not going to go to my deathbed and have regrets that I did not live it full out in this world. And so then it became, and I don't like the word fear because it's a low vibration, but it became a new fear, essentially, that I needed to live my life fully. So guess what? I was afraid that if I shared my out-of-body experience, people would make fun of me. People would say I'm crazy, and I did. I had people say that. And guess what? I don't care. Do you care that much that you let people stop you from living your life? Because guess what? You are the only one who goes to your deathbed. You are the only one who gets to look back upon your life and say, did I give it my all? Did I? And so I had to really watch everything that would come through my mind. These were the thoughts that would go through my mind. You're going to stand up there and nobody's even going to listen to you. They're going to laugh at you. Nothing's going to come out of your mouth. You're dumb. Why would they listen to you? You're not smart. You don't have anything to teach them. That was what came to me. All of those thoughts. And it was so incredibly stressful, but I did not give up. And the very first time I went in, I remember driving to the conference. And I remember just yelling at God, like, I said, you better freaking show up for me. That's all I gotta say, because I am standing here today, and if you don't show up for me, I am never doing this again. Like, you better freaking show up for me. And I'm like yelling at God as I drive to this conference by myself. And so I go there, and I'm like, when I'm about to go on, I'm literally shaking so hard. I could not even function. Like, I was so scared. And I was like, I don't care. I have to get over my fears. You guys, you have to push through your fears in this world. If they're like silly ones, then you don't. That's stupid. Like, I'm not going to go in the middle of the ocean in the dark and sit in the ocean. That's just called stupid. But if it's stopping you from living your purpose, then you have to do it. You just have to make yourself do it. And you will be fine. Guess what? I didn't do it alone. God carried me. He literally carried me. He showed up for me that day. When I got on that stage, I spoke. And did I make mistakes? Yes. But at the very end, my husband came up to me and he said, Katie, you had women on the edge of your seat crying. And I was like, I didn't know I could do that, you know? Like, and so then from there, so what I would do is every time I'd have a thought, I would try to like stand outside of myself and observe it. Like, wow, that's like a lot of chaos going on in there. you're stupid, you're dumb, nobody's gonna listen to you. You don't speak, you don't know how to speak, you haven't got a college degree, blah, 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 blah. It was like nonstop. And you guys know what happens. Our intuition comes, tells us the truth. Very, very clear, very, very specific. And then the adversary is able to come in and it's like, tells you everything wrong. Now start to watch the pattern. It will happen in your life constantly. And it's one truth that you're supposed to do. Your inner heart, your soul, God, your angels, they tell you this. And then the adversary is unleashed. And they get to stop us. And guess what? We let them. We let them. We don't have to let them anymore. You don't have to anymore. You can live your life fully. Every single one of you have a purpose, an amazing purpose, a purpose that not one other person in this world can do but you, because you were born to do it. So then after that, I spoke at other ones, and then now I just speak at whichever retreats or conferences or retreats, and now I've made a business. Like I have soul purpose sessions, I have healing sessions for people, I have all sorts of sessions, and people come to me and I help women, and I love what I do, and I'm living my purpose. And I could have let the other side tell me, nobody's gonna listen to you, nobody cares. I could have let the fears control me and not speak, but guess what? I didn't, and you can too. Whatever you are here to do, you are here to live your life fully. Go within, listen to your heart, your inner soul. What is it telling you? Like, what makes you feel so alive? What is it? It's time for you to start living it. It is. If I got out of my fears of public speaking and reading in front of others, like I would go to church and I started raising my hand. I was scared to death, but I still did it. I raised my hand and I was like, okay, I'll speak. I'll read it. And I did it. Those ladies around me had no idea the internal turmoil that was going on in me. Nobody knew. They didn't know, only me. A lot of times, you guys, we think others notice. They're too busy thinking about themselves. They are. They don't notice it. So when you're pushing through a fear, I have a session called Fearless Soul Session. When you're pushing through your fears, it's just stuff that's going on in you. Nobody else even understands it. And I sat and observed the world, and I was like, what in the world makes everybody in this world so successful? And I realized this one thing: confidence. That's it. One thing. If you see somebody who's confident, they have a degree, they don't, nobody cares. As long as they're confident, people believe them, they listen to them. And so I was like, okay, I'm confident. Like, now that I can see that I told myself those lies, what are the lies you've been telling yourself your whole life? What is it? Are you dumb? Are you stupid? Is it I'm too fat? Is it I'm ugly? I mean, you guys all know mine now. The whole world's gonna know it. So it's like, whatever it is, stop listening to it. All it is the adversary trying to stop you from living your life 100% fully. And I was told, we have one chance to live, that's it, one chance, and we're just being safe. Live your life fully. So now, when I'm in the middle of doing something, I scream, live your life fully! Like, I want to live my life fully. And it is nerve-wracking sometimes. Sometimes I'm like trying to do this or that or something unique that's completely different. I still remember the first time I shared my out-of-body experience. I didn't know if people would think I'm crazy. I didn't know what they would say about me. It was scary, but I still did it. And if you get anything from me today, anything, if I face my fears of public speaking to share my message and my out-of-body experience with you, and it is just to help you live your life fully, it is worth it to me. Because if my soul purpose affected your soul to step into why you came here to be, that is so worth it. So I want you to remember, you matter, you are worth it. You are loved, and God will hear you, whatever you do. Like, I remember one day after my out-of-body experience, it was like 6 months later, I had literally gone within. I was like, I don't want to hear anybody outside of me's opinions. I got to figure out myself. Like, I quit going to everybody and their thoughts. I quit asking advice. And I started just really, truly like going within. And one day I remember just like getting in the car and driving down the street all by myself. I was like, honey, I gotta go. I gotta figure some stuff out. Like, so I get in my car and I'm driving down the street and I pull up to this like little area that you can see the whole valley. And I'm just like watching all the lights in the valley. And I just remember talking to God, like, you gave me this out of what experience. You told me that I have one chance to live. What, like, can you help me? And that day, he said, turn on the radio. I turned on the radio, and the song Broken and Beautiful was on by Callie Reed. I want you guys to go listen to that. That day, Broken and Beautiful is all about how this woman feels stupid, dumb, ugly, fat, whatever the story is that you've told yourself your whole life that's been holding you back. And yours will be different than mine. It doesn't matter. It's still relatable. What held me back in life from sitting in the corner and hiding out and not daring to be me? What is it that you're doing that with? Are you have an addiction with food and you've got to get it under control? It doesn't matter what it is. Me and you are no different. It's just a different thing. That's it. I had fears that stopped me from living my life. And this day, he showed me this song, Broken and Beautiful, and I listened to it, and it was all about this woman who felt like she was just broken and shattered. And like, for the first time listening to this song, it hit me. Every single person is broken, not just me. Every single person. I don't know why it didn't dawn on me till that day. I thought that I was the only person in this world broken, stupid, dumb. I don't know why. I didn't see it. And this day, I finally saw it through this song, Broken and Beautiful, as I watched this woman shatter these vases on the ground and just feeling broken and stupid and all these things. Like, let's say one vase was like, I'm dumb, and one was, I'm stupid, and one was this. She literally, for the first time I got to see, this woman has felt like I've felt. And I actually saw for the first time, I am broken and I am beautiful, and it is perfectly perfect. Like, I am supposed to be broken. How do I ever help anybody if I haven't been broken to my knees? If I haven't been in a place so dark that the world can't connect. Like, if I never experienced depression, how could I have sympathy for somebody who hasn't? And no, I haven't experienced everything everybody has. However, the things I have gone through will give me compassion for others, for what their story is. And so I saw everybody's broken. We're all broken human beings, every single one of us. And so what is it today that you're going to go forward with in life? That you're going to live your life fully? Are you going to go back to college? Are you going to become a mother? Are you going to write a book? It doesn't matter. All these things don't have to stop you. For the longest time, it stopped me that I didn't have a degree. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. God qualified me for the spiritual work I would be doing in this world, and I am doing it. What is it in this life that you are supposed to be doing? Remember. Go within your inner heart and your soul and remember. Because there is something, and when you go within and you quiet yourself and you call upon God, He will tell you. He will tell you. He told me. And now, I never thought 5 years ago, if I look back 5 years ago to now, I have clients every day in my house. I have phone sessions. I'm busy. I am making a difference in the world, and I'm helping people by sharing my story. And I have pushed through the lowest and hardest things that I could not imagine. If I go back, like I was just on this Fearless Soul session the other day, and the woman was like, well, how did you get yourself to do what you did? And I told her, it's one foot in front of the other. It was me saying yes to speaking at one event and literally being so scared shitless that I could do it. It was beyond terrifying. And I did it anyways. I didn't know I would have the strength. And you know what? I didn't have the strength alone. God gave me it. He gave me it. a lot of people have asked me, in my out-of-body experience, if I saw Christ or God. And I did not then. This morning when I was getting my hair ready, I had this come to me, and so I was like, okay, I guess it's the time to share. So I don't know why I'm supposed to share this now, but I am. If any of you are out there and you doubt that there is a God in heaven or Christ, there is. I have seen him, and he's amazing. Since my out-of-body experience, and even before, I'm just a dreamer. So I dream, and I see ancestors in my dreams, or I see angels, and it just depends. It's not all the time, but it happens when it happens, and I don't get to control it. But one time I dreamed, or I didn't dream, I saw. So it's like, I don't know what people will call it. I'm not going to give it a label, but I saw Christ. I was in a room. My friend Taryn was with me. And a man came in the room, and I knew it was Christ. And the vibration was love, you guys. Just love. He loves us. He does not judge us. He loves us. And I knew in that moment, I was told I have a specific friend who had kicked me out of her life. And I was told that she's dealing with stuff and you need to forgive her. Well, later she came to me and told me that she had a mental illness. And then after that, I was at a table, and I thought next to me was Christ again because he was with me before. And I looked over at him, and the vibration was so high, like the out-of-body experience. It was so high. It was just like pure love. And I remember looking over, and it almost shocked me because it was not Christ at this time anymore. It was his disciple. And then I knew, like in my out-of-body experience, I didn't get told. I knew telepathically. And in this experience, when I was with the disciple, I looked up thinking it was Christ again. And it was the disciple. And so I was like, oh. And he said, study the life of Christ. And so I've been trying to do that. And he is humble and kind and caring. And he will be there for you in your lowest of lows. So if you feel like God's not in your life, he is. Turn to him and he will carry you. Yeah. So also when I came back from my out-of-body experience, it was almost like I felt like the whole world had mental illnesses. And not like real mental illnesses, but like kind of. Because we all had all these fears and thoughts, and it was like everybody cared way too much what other people thought. And I remember just thinking like, what is wrong with you guys? Like, stop doing that. Like, stop it. And like, when I went back and picked up my child from my sister Jessie's, I said, I saw Addie, and she's gonna come early. And she just was like, the first thing that came to her mind, and I don't tell this to out Jess, any person would have done this. I would have done it too. She said, what? Is she gonna live? Is she gonna be okay? You guys, we do this. I tell her I saw her daughter and she's gonna come early, and we go to the worst case scenarios in our mind. Our mind does this. We have to stop it. It's literally like we're all mentally ill. And the first thing is not how beautiful is she? Is she so pretty? It's the worst thing. And it's just, I don't know, it's like being human in our DNA, but when we can start to recognize it, we will be able to live our lives more fully. We'll be able to face our fears and like live our life 100% more, because we'll start to see the patterns and like the things. And so whatever like thoughts, just start to be aware of them and just start to like observe and listen, like what do you feel and what do you think? Because we don't have to go to the worst case scenario. Like, we can think the best thing. Like right now, our world is getting ready for Christ to come. That's what's happening. There's lots of things going on in the world. The vibration's raising in the world, but it's also a lot is coming out. And so we can see the good in it, right? So anyways, I think I've shared it all. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. And yeah, I have a group called Hearts Inspired that I share lots of stuff with. I don't really share my normal page as much. But if you guys want to follow me there or at Katie Bueller, there's also a professional page, just a like page that you could follow me on there too. So anyways, I hope you all have a great day, and I hope that you all live your lives 100% fully and dare to do what you came here to do in this world. You are all amazing. You're light. You came from God, and He loves you. So I hope that you dare to live your life 100% fully. And it really doesn't matter what other people think. It matters what your inner soul is telling you. So just really tap into your inner self and go within and listen to that. And make sure that you remember to call upon your guardian angels. They love you. They're there for you. I also saw guardian angels that I didn't know who they were, and I saw a ton who I knew. And we have all sorts of them. The ones who I didn't know who they were, they're probably ancestors from back then, but like when I was in my out-of-body experience, I knew who they were then. Like I understood who they all were, so it was super interesting. But I didn't know who they were like in this world. And so it could be, so we have a lot of support we can call upon, and we just need to remember that we are worth it and we matter. So I hope you all have a great day. Okay, love you all. Bye.